Hello and welcome. I'm Narelle Diamond, the Massaging Geek. Today we're going to be discussing something that comes up constantly, quite often in the massage room, everywhere else that... Where'd that come from? Yeah, we're going to watch... Yeah, you knew that. You saw the title. Okay, yeah, the DVD was a fake up. Pardon my squeaky chair. I can't help it. That is on the wrong speaker. Hold, please. Better. I can't remember where the camera is, so I'm sorry if I don't pay you attention. I'm doing too many things at once. So for anybody who hasn't seen this movie, I'll give you a brief rundown. There's a knight, and this is his tail. I'm going to have to cut some stuff out of the movie, obviously, for time condensation and such. We're going to pretend that was real.
Well, he has to be in the list in 2 minutes. 2 minutes or forfeit.
Massage therapists totally do this. Totally for smells. No, I mean totally for sinus drainage.
Lend us those. Right.
Right. Left.
Thank you. 3 scores to none after 2 lances. All Sir Hector needs to do is not fall off his horse and we've won.
We have to hand it to Sir Hector, who was close to death, really needed to go to the bathroom, and there's no telling how many years he's been jousting. But he did so well that all Will had to do was stay seated on the horse to win. That's not bad, you gotta admit it.
What do you mean, Dave?
The spark of his life is smothered in shame.
Amazing line for a tombstone. Spirits is gone, but his stench remains. And thus CPR was invented.
Why, Squire?
Question. Did you need to ride the horse to come that far? Like, how far is it? It's not even a quarter of a mile. You're like, summon my horse, I need to go 10 yards.
If the nobles find out who you are, there'll be the devil to pay.
Alright, you didn't convince me, you convinced my stomach. In case I haven't mentioned it before, this is absolutely one of my favorite movies of all time. I love how at the beginning of the movie they let you know exactly what it is. And the whole point of me doing this is to point out some of the anatomical things. I need to start out with the fact that the chances are their posture would not have been that good. They were indentured and exposed to hard labor. The chances are they would be hunched over more often, or more probably, than having the straight posture, especially that Will had. The chances are that they also would have come across some injuries along the way, which means that they would have favored whatever injury they had. Have you ever strained a muscle? That thing does not heal quickly. It takes a long time to heal. On your face, pink disgrace, waving your kind of... That was the wrong words. It's sad that I was exposed to We Will Rock You by the Mighty Ducks soundtrack. Feel free to judge. That entire song was played on pipes.
Lord Philip of Aragon, stand you ready.
No, I sit ready.
I'm never allowed to striking.
Badger me not with detail.
That is a great response, and I wish I used it more. Badger me not with details.
You've waited your whole life for Selector to shot himself to death.
I mean, isn't that common among a indentured life?
Remove your helmet.
Okay, we're going to talk about the anatomy of what just happened. Again, I'm a massage therapist. I have base knowledge when it comes to anatomy. Don't generally deal with injuries. So what I'm going to say is based on, like, you know, general common sensey kind of things. So looking at it, the helmet is obviously he got smashed in the face with the lance. I totally knew that word. Broken nose, minimum. Broken septum, probably. Anytime you have an injury to the nose, it can radiate outward and you wind up with double black eyes. That is if he didn't lose an eye, and there is a chance maybe he lost a tooth. Or he could have a choke and beak bone.
I'm afraid the final blow of the lance has bent it onto my head.
Yeah, he says
That had to
final
hurt.
blow of the...
He didn't want that.
That pillow makes a cameo appearance later on.
That is nothing, and nothing is right where glory will take.
You take that back. That was a human being who is now pro food. I challenge you to say a movie that was made in the 1990s through to the teens that does not contain some kind of montage. Obviously, it has to be some kind of like romantic comedy or regular comedy. You know, Titanic doesn't count. Although Don't they have a... They have a montage in Titanic. Where he's teaching her how to be chill.
To trudge the slow, weary, depressing, yet determined walk of a man who has nothing left in his life except the impulse to simply...
He's a walking dictionary.
soldier on. Lations.
Okay.
Who are you?
Why the teeth? Think about it. You would have to use your tongue to try to find the thorn in the first place.
Betray us,
Best scene in the entire movie.
and I will thong you until your insides are out. Your outside.
I totally want to believe that that whole scene was ad-libbed.
I'm
Pain. I don't see Jocelyn as a love interest. I see her as another antagonist. She's also magical.
I must detain you on behalf of your herald.
That is the face of a man who loves his job. Also, you got some stuff on your...
People, they'll quite literally take the clothes off your back.
Could you imagine the fashion coordinator for this movie being like, we only need 2 outfits? He's got so many scenes. There's even a deleted scene where he's walking around naked.
We walk in the garden of his turbulence.
Okay. I've spoken English most of my life. I'm not counting the first couple of years where I'm pretty sure I just gurgled. I have no idea what he just said.
Excuse me.
Don't work for free.
Her accent is absolutely beautiful.
Each drop of this sweat has a price on it.
Amen.
You see, I couldn't do it because I'm a woman.
No, they didn't say that.
No, they said you were great with horseshoes, but shite with armor. The fact that you're a woman wasn't even mentioned.
Yes, it was. By him. She's Marty McFly and somebody called her chicken. Okay, I'm gonna put the subtitles on just to see what he actually is saying. But I always heard it as hog wine. Now I'm wondering if it's hot wine. Either way, ew. All right, let's see what they actually said.
Cat's meat, hot wine.
Did that say
Cat's
cat's
meat, hot
meat?
wine. Cat's meat, hot wine.
Cat's meat. I thought it was yak's meat. There's all kinds of truth coming from this viewing.
Then I shall educate you.
Yes, please give us some exposition.
A
Who
match,
carries around a
3
falcon?
lances. 1 point.
Like,
is
who's just
awarded for
like,
breaking
this
a
is
lance
me,
on a man
this
through
is
the
my
waist
falcon.
and neck. 2 points for breaking on the helmet. It's difficult. The helmet. I myself, Jocelyn, have never been unhorsed.
Nor have I. I find that very hard to believe.
Your name?
For you are all equally blessed. For I have
All right,
the
so we will
pride.
talk about posture real quick. Chaucer is supposed to be a writer. Writers and artists have a bad habit of leaning over their material while they're working, and Paul Bettany has a slightly projected neck, which makes sense for the character. All right, so we're going to talk about Adamar's injury. If you're going to have an injury in a movie, that's a good place to have it, because there's the pec major, the pec minor, which is more here. There is lymphatic bundles there. There's also some nerves and so forth that pass through. They go like that, and they go underneath the arm. I don't know if he would have bled out or anything like that. Your body's going to be in pain, and movement of the arm obviously is going to be a little bit of a problem. So given that your career is holding a lance and riding on a horse, that couldn't have been good for him. Doesn't he look like a centaur? I can't not see it. Also, I know during production, they have to have the lance so that it's got the fist going forward. But I just imagine Adamar sitting there on the horse, like flipping the lance around to make it so that the fist is forward. Does that happen to anybody else? You get hit in the head and suddenly you flash back to when you were 7 years old, having cut your foot on glass and having to walk home in ballet shoes that were filled with blood? Just me?
For you and all of your own. Well done, my lord.
Well done.
Well done. Adamar, come.
Okay, they had to show that the only damage Ulrich would have taken was from Adamar himself, because even though he got smashed in the beginning of the movie, now he's got a black eye. Well, black nose. The posture in this scene, as an MT, part of my job is gait observation. assessment. That's the word I was looking for. And in all honesty, they're walking only with their feet, trying to move as little as possible to show as much stiff upper lip as possible. Anybody else getting She's All That vibes? Whee! So for this scene, they're intentionally going to try to make him mad so that he does better against this knight.
These people starve while he sits in...
A friend of mine did that to me while I was massaging her. She wanted more pressure. She didn't want to tell me that she wanted more pressure. So this clever little minx decided that she was just going to make me mad by mentioning somebody at work that she knew I didn't like. Sadly, it did work. I did apply more pressure. And then eventually I apologized for being angry. And she was like, "No, I'm sorry. I was just going after deeper pressure." You know who you are.
It's called a lance. Hello?
Alan Tudyk is always a win.
The lance! The thrilled France!
That's such a cool scene, him walking along with the water. Also, the dexterity that he would need and the accuracy that he would need to walk on that, it's impressive. He's not even looking down. It just makes me respect Paul Bettany even more. Best scene in the whole movie. Okay, second best scene. That. Alright, we're going to talk about this scene.
No one night has...
Alright, so I Googled it. The only thing that I can think of that they're trying to do is pull the joint from its socket, which if the joint is dislocated, that makes sense. They're pulling on... He's gripping onto that leather strap, which means that he's flexing his hand. And if you flex a muscle and then pull it, the chances are you're going to strain the muscle. So I understand what they're trying to do here, but I don't know if it's worth the damage that they're doing to the other joints. I mean, if the humerus bone inside the glenohumeral joint was lifted this way or that way, then pulling on it could straighten it, yes. But I don't know if it would be worth the damage to the wrists and the elbows. And you could probably even strain your fingers from gripping onto the thing. In other words, I just think there was a better way to do this rather than we're going to create this device that just yanks your hand out. Also, I've never heard a shoulder pop back into place before, but I don't think it would sound like that. Because you're not trying to move the bone. Yes, I'm thinking. I don't think it would sound like that. When my knee would pop out of joint, I don't remember there being a sound. Granted, maybe it's because I was in extreme pain. And now his arm is going to be weak. His extenders and flexors are probably going to be strained in his forearm. That is some hard work. I'm assuming that factory workers are very similar, where it's repetition of the same action over and over again. In this case, it would be your feet and your calves, your butt, your back. Your hands would probably have welts on them.
You got most of your teeth?
Fun fact, sugar was what rotted the teeth. Most peasants didn't have access to sugar. I just want to give it to whoever designed that. That is awesome. That is a great representation of what the London Bridge used to look like. Holding the lances like that, if you had the belt going around your waist that the lance sticks into, that'd be one thing. But muscle fatigue, you straining your muscles, your low back would be killing you.
News. Adamas here has entered.
Must have grown bored with whatever war they're fighting.
No. The Black Prince commanded it.
I just have to wonder whether or not the Black Prince is just like the biggest fanboy there is for jousting. He's like, I want my two favorite competitors in the same area, so let's go ahead and call him back. Alright, so correct me if I'm wrong. This is a nice sentiment for us, but a peasant back then who couldn't guarantee that he was going to have dry clothes and someplace warm to dry off, wouldn't that mean death? Alright, maybe not death, but a cold. Flu. Hiccups.
Well, how old are you?
9 1/2.
9 2/2. In school, they encouraged us to be blind while we were... Hell, they blindfolded us to make sure that we were blind while we were massaging. So, I picked a career field I could do blind. There are still times where I close my eyes during session. That's why a good massage therapist, what the client looks like, doesn't matter. Because sight doesn't matter. It's what you feel.
Somebody die?
Yeah, the mood.
A night in your heart, but not on paper, and paper's all that matters to them.
London tournament sponsored by Dunder Mifflin.
It is you and only you that will not see you run.
My pride is the only
Not if you blindfold yourself, then you won't see him run.
thing they can't take from me.
They can take it from you, they can, and they will.
Are you saying, oh, they will as in they will? As in they could? Or are you saying, oh, they, comma, will? So much fun to be had with someone whose name is Will. Do they have smaller stocks for people who have smaller hands?
What a pair we make.
So you'll be joining me in the stocks next door?
Take a knee.
Whose knee? Your knee? My knee? Your hair is really bugging me.
Any joust?
I've been in a stock for the last 24 hours. I think I'm going to sit this one out.
I shall have your opponent informed of it. You look for his shield on the lists at once.
Would you do me a favor? Would you go and inform him that I'm going to be there? That would be the ultimate petty revenge.
Lord.
He's tipped.
Also, how can you tell he tipped it? Because when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's got the sharp point. I'm kind of curious whether they intended for the metal piece to still be in Will, because that would explain why he's not bleeding. He's got like a little bit of trickle, and that's it. Versus that, again, lots of veins and arteries coming across in this area, which means I'm thinking there would be a lot more than that. Okay, that's how I would have expected him to react. Having my knee pop out means that everything connected to it just kind of went numb. The muscles were still in shock. They didn't want to work. So if I say that he's in shock, that's what I mean, is that the muscles are now trying to adapt to an injury. So here they make it look like the injury is a lot higher. It's still in the middle of the belly of the pec major. It does look like it would probably have hit the pec minor as well. It's a fairy tale. I keep telling myself it's a fairy tale. But you know how it is if you watch something and now you have more education or you're older and you're a little more experienced.
No. I can barely grip it.
Alright, so here he's pretty much saying that he can't grip, and I'm sorry, you're going to hear background sounds. He's saying that he can't grip the lance. Where he was injured, like I've previously said, other than shock rippling through the arm for having been injured, his hand would not have been affected. Nerve, unless a nerve was severed, that's very possible too. My personal feeling is that whenever he goes in for the hit, that he punches with it, which does use the pec major muscle. It's fairy tale. Love the movie. I always get to the end of the movie and just, it feels like there needs to be a closure, you know, like their wedding, or showing that he's still jousting years later. But that's just my impression. I have 3 minutes. Thank you for watching me reacting to A Knight's Tale. The Knight's Tale is the Geoffrey Chaucer. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button. I intend on doing many more massagey geeky things, including drawing, massage story. This was intended to be a breakdown of the medical things that happened during the movie, but I love the movie so much I couldn't help but make commentary for everything else too. Anyway, that'll do it for now. Okay, love you. Bye-bye. I didn't know it would do that, but okay. Why do you... have a hard time with my outro? Oh, I remember my outro. I